Should we eat oils such as flax, hemp, olive oil? Are they helpful or hurtful?
You know, there's so much controversy in the plant-based movement about oils and whether they hurt or help. And my personal feeling is that all macronutrients, it doesn't matter if it's fat, carbohydrate, or protein, they are all best coming from whole foods. So I would sooner see a person getting their fat from flax seeds rather than flax oil, or from olives rather than olive oil, or avocados rather than avocado oil. I would, I guess, make an analogy to rather see a person getting their sugar from fruit rather than from a concentrated sweetener. Because making an oil involves processing, which removes a lot of the food, parts of the food that's really beneficial, the fiber and phytochemicals and so on. Now, again, the quality of oil depends on how you process it. So some fresh pressed, first pressing, extra virgin olive oil, or extra, the cold pressed flaxseed oil, or these kinds of oils, I would say if people use them, they should be used like these concentrated sweeteners as a little flavoring in food, and not as a component that has a lot of volume. And also there are some cases where these foods may be valuable. And so, for example, in a small child who's having difficulty eating enough and growing, adding a little bit of a more concentrated fat can help the child gain weight. Or for an athlete who needs 5,000 or 6,000 calories a day and just can't take in a big volume of food, it's a way to add calories without adding volume. And our our needs for fats, it's not the same for every individual. I think some people who have these long, lanky bodies who just can't gain weight, they do better with a little more fat in their diet than people who, walk by the bakery and gain 5 pounds. So there are some people that are much better with a lot less fat. People with heart disease will want to consume less fat. And so it's very individual, but I think we really want to get our macronutrients more from whole foods than from oils. If we use oils, we want them to be minimized, to be used very carefully, never to hit a smoke point if they're being used in cooking. Better to use them not in cooking, to be honest. I would actually, honestly, I would say that I would sooner see a person, and people are going to just cringe when I say this, who are SOS, but I would sooner see a person put a little bit of high quality oil and balsamic vinegar on a salad than put a dead sugar dressing. And a lot of these no-fat dressings on the market are just sugar. And sugar has no redeeming value. There's nothing there. Whereas oil may have some redeeming value. Flax oil has some omega-3s. Oils have some vitamin E. If they're fresh pressed, they may actually still contain some phytochemicals and antioxidants. They may contain a bit of vitamin K. There's some redeeming value. They actually help the phytochemicals in our salads to be better absorbed. The sugar does nothing. So the way that I make dressings is using whole foods. I might use an avocado or some tahini or some walnuts or some nuts or seeds to make my whole food dressing, and that to me is ideal. But if I had to choose between one or the other, I would choose the dressing that has a little bit of really high quality oil rather than the dead sugar dressing.
What's wrong with eating dairy products?
Well, eating dairy products, again, many of the blue zones include dairy products and have had these animals where they use the dairy products and maintain really good health over time. To me, the biggest problem with consuming dairy products in our culture is for the cows. And I mean, there are problems for people too, don't get me wrong. But when you look at what we do to cows to steal their milk, the rape racks, the taking their babies away from them, it is beyond belief that we would do that to another sentient being. I can think of nothing that could justify that kind of treatment and the way we enslave them and you know, put them through that, you know, pregnancy after pregnancy, and at the end of their 4 years where their milk production starts to wane, they go to the hamburger factory. I just can't justify that. And when we think about the environmental consequences of you know, cattle and cows for milk and cattle for beef, it makes no sense in this current environment. And in terms of health, there are 70% of the human population is lactose intolerant. Humans naturally, their lactase enzyme diminishes as they hit about 4 years of age, and so most of the human population can't even tolerate it. And for those that consume it, it can contribute to acne, it can contribute to arthritis, it can certainly contribute to prostate cancer and possibly ovarian cancer. And so there are all kinds of, it's one of our richest sources of saturated fat, so it's a, you know, potential contributor to heart disease, and so the list goes on. And so I think humans absolutely are better off getting the nutrients that you would get from cow's milk from other places.